would like to thank the Commission for investigating the concerns that have been raised by many residents and local governments. We greatly appreciate this opportunity to share our perspective on a critical issue that affects nearly every resident and business owner in the city of Gaithersburg, as well as the city's ability to provide essential services to our residents. On Sunday, June 29th, 2012, the region was hit by a severe derecho storm. As a result, thousands of Pepco customers in Gaithersburg were without power, many for several days and some for an entire week. Of significant concern to the city was that amongst those who lost power were providers of essential public services, such as WSCC, hospitals, police, and fire facilities, including a number of Gaithersburg's facilities. And this impacted the ability to provide necessary services to our residents. The frail and elderly were put at risk. Our businesses suffered losses of revenues, our residents were placed on water restrictions, and incurred expenses for perishable foods, medicine, and hotel stays. The apparent fragility of the system leaves our residents feeling vulnerable to unpredictable inconvenience and expense at the least, and serious danger at the worst. This should not be the case in the region that is home to our nation's capital. We understand that Pepco had every worker dedicated to restoring power, with many more contract workers joining the efforts. The central command center for those workers was located in Gaithersburg, so we saw firsthand the enormous scale of the aspect of this operation. However, despite their best efforts, it clearly was not enough. Our residents demand better and deserve better. While we understand the unpredictable nature of weather, Pepco must examine its heavy reliance on out-of-state workers. As you know, when an entire region is hit, such as with this storm, other utility providers vie for the same pool of contract workers, creating shortages that results in even longer restoration times. This recent storm highlights the vulnerability of services to facilities essential for public safety in our area. In the first 2 days of recovery, the work focused on restoring power to water treatment facilities and pumping stations, police and fire stations, hospitals, and key government offices. Investment needs to be made so that these key facilities do not suffer significant service losses in major weather events. Pepco and the Commission needs to study the most effective cost way to achieve this goal and develop a plan to implement it. If these facilities do not lose power, then the task of restoring power to the broader customer base can begin much sooner, shortening the length of outages for everyone. In addition, Pepco should be required to examine what deficiencies exist in the lines that provide electricity to homes and businesses, and promptly develop and implement a plan to identify and, to the extent possible, strengthen the weak points in those distribution lines. The frequency of blue sky outages in our city in the absence of storm, even in neighborhoods and communities where undergrounding has been accomplished, indicates the need for repairing and upgrading the electrical grid and distribution system. Requiring Pepco to take this action seems to be the only way to reduce the risk of repeated and lengthy outages for many of our residents and businesses, in particular pockets throughout the city of Gaithersburg. Communication remains an area of concern for our residents. A particular concern is the lack of accurate information that would have assisted local governments in identifying and potentially rendering aid to residents who were still without power as temperatures soared and remained in the unhealthy range. It is imperative that Pepco provide this critical data in real time. Many residents were told that power had been restored to their community when in fact it had not. You can certainly understand the frustration that this misinformation caused. It is simply unacceptable, and Pepco must do better. Increasingly volatile weather is taxing the resources of utility companies and municipalities alike. We all play a critical role in the efforts to both prepare for and respond to what seems to be an ever-increasing natural disasters. While we acknowledge the strides that Pepco has made in recent years to foster a closer working relationship with municipal government, we nonetheless must express our concern that what appears to be a lack of progress in solving basic system problems, the results of which are devastating to our community.